Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Create Your Future. I'm a coach here as well as a psychologist. And today, guys, I have another SP success story for you. I actually have two similar stories that I like to compare. One of them is a success story. The other one is a fairly new client. It's going to be like a pep talk for you guys. They have something in common, which is being chased by our SP. Okay, so first things first, both of these clients wanted to be chased by their SPs, but they also have this issue of believing a stereotype that the guy has to chase first, like has to chase a woman, right? Which is a total nonsense. Guys, if you feel like you're the one who likes to pursue, go for it. You know, all these stereotypes, gender roles, right, are beliefs, are cultural beliefs, which can be limiting, very limiting. So if you personally have a desire to chase somebody, don't give up on that because society tells you you shouldn't. It's not right, it's wrong. There is no such thing here, guys. So let me compare these two stories. And I have to say about the male client, I'm so proud of him. We have been working together for the past 3 months almost. And when I met him 3 months ago, he was on the verge of giving up. He came to me totally frustrated, which I understand. And he said, he was like, Tamara, I tried everything. I did everything. I affirmed. I robotically affirmed. I tried subliminals. I tried visualizing. I tried scripting, yada, yada, yada. Nothing worked. Why? Why? Is it because I want my SP to chase me and I'm the guy here? Like I have some kind of limiting belief? And I'm like, okay. Hold your horses, right? Calm down. The first thing we did is trying to get to the bottom of why he desires something, right? And as I always say, guys, you can be, do, have anything you want, and this is entirely true. So when people come up to you, some certain, I guess, YouTubers or whatever, and they say you can't have X, Y, and Z because it comes from your ego. But this is not true. Ego is just on a part of you. Your ego is part of you. You're one and the same. So why shouldn't you want something just because it's coming from your ego? That doesn't make sense. So you are here in this world to experience all of these different states, right? It doesn't have to be that deep. You want a cup of coffee? Experience getting a cup of coffee. You want to have your SP apologize to you? Experience that. You want a car, an expensive car, just because you like it? Go get it. Experience having it. Do not limit yourselves just because you think, oh, that's not deep enough. It seems too shallow. So maybe I shouldn't have that. I shouldn't put myself into that state. It's not deep enough. So I can't get it. It's coming from my ego. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Your desires come from your states as well. And they will change, as I always tell you guys. They change, as you shift states. So yeah, maybe today, in this state, you want your SP to apologize to you, to call you, to chase you. And maybe in 2 months down the road, when you shift your state into the state of a person who is satisfied and happy, fulfilled, already chased, communicating with their SP, your desire then might probably be, okay, I want to move in with this SP. Do you get what I mean? Or I want to have 5 kids with my SP. So do not worry about whether your desire is deep enough. And this is exactly what I told my client because he was worried. Okay, so Tamara, maybe I'm not going to the end, very end, meaning marrying his SP. That's why she's not chasing me back. I said no. So guys, when we say go to your end, you decide what your current end is. And again, it always depends on your current state. If your end is communicating, go for that. Shift into that. If your end is marrying somebody, go straight to that. Do not limit yourselves and never ever condition your desires. So if I want to have my SP chase me, first I have to do this, and that. Or I can't have my SP back because first I have to shift into them texting me and then calling me and then dating me and then, no, that's not true. That's not true, guys. In fact, if you do that, there's a higher chance you will have a lot of resistance towards going back into this state and sticking with it. Why? Because you have no, as Neville called it, burning desire for it. If you have no burning desire to marry your SP, don't shift into that. Makes no sense, okay? So I talked to my client. I told him, it's perfectly natural to want to have your SP chase you, apologize to you, I don't know, crawl back to you. Totally fine. But you cannot be in a state of waiting and trying, which is exactly what he had been doing prior to meeting me and having our session. So when he told me, I did everything, scripted, affirmed, and visualized, and nothing's working, I said, exactly, because your awareness hasn't changed. You haven't changed. You are exactly where you were 5 months ago, a year ago, whatever was the time when those two broke up, right? You have to change. You have to shift first. And your awareness cannot be, well, I'm trying to do something to get something out here. You have to become aware of her already chasing you. You already having what you desire. So we did a couple of exercises in our sessions. Most of them were inner conversations because that is what was the most natural for my client. In this case, not all of my clients prefer inner conversations. Some like scripting, journaling. Some like visualizing, memorizing. Some like affirming briefly, right? It doesn't matter. This guy said, I'm having a lot of mental conversations, arguments with this SP. I can't stop. And I said, that's perfect. That's perfect. You know why? Because now we know that it's very natural for you to construct and to have these mental conversations and loop them in your mind. So let's use that to your advantage, right? So I asked him, who is your best friend? Like, who do you talk to about, relationships, girls? And he said, I have one of my close buddies. I actually talk to him maybe every single day. And I said, perfect. I want you to focus, bring your awareness to this friend of yours. And hear his voice. And he did. And I want you to tell him exactly who you are, knowing that you are being chased by your SP. Can you do that for me? And he said, I'll try. And I said, do not try, do it. Just experience that. And then tell me about your conversation. Tell me what you told your friend, basically. What do you remember telling your friend? And he said, okay. So I gave him a couple of seconds. He had a mental conversation in his mind. And he said, okay, I would tell my best friend that her name, which I cannot use, is crazy about me. She is texting me nonstop, man. And I said, perfect. Let's keep it simple. He was like, should I go on and on? I was like, no. This is enough. So we're not here coming up with a whole movie scenario in your mind. This is something that has to be very simple and natural, right? So don't overcomplicate this stuff. Just remember something, saying something to your friend or family member, whoever, that implies to you that you are the person who already has their desire. And I told them, every time you think of your SP, you think about your previous fights, you think of the old version of yourself, you have an urge to pick up the phone and chase her, call her, text her, because he was texting her like 2-3 times in a row with no reply. And I told him, listen, I don't want to be rude, but I have to be straightforward for your sake. Not only is this crazy, but it's also not beneficial to you, and it's making you feel worse. It is putting you in a state of the person who is obsessing over their SP, not the one who is actually having their SP chase them. If that makes sense, guys. And I told him, I asked him if that made sense to him, and he said, yes, that's exactly what I've been doing so far. And I said, bingo, this is exactly why nothing has been working. Because you're still the same person. You are the person who doesn't have your SP, who is in fact obsessing and chasing them. So how can this person chase you if you don't let them? You're chasing them mentally and also in the 3D as well. And I told him, like, I gave him this exercise to do. Any single time he thought of his SP, he thought of picking up the phone, texting her a couple of times in a row. I told him, you're going to regulate yourself, ground yourself, and remember the version of you who already has his desire. You're going to remember talking to your friend because that version of you has his SP chase him. Deal? And he said deal. And over the past 2 months, guys, he kept coming back and he was like, I don't know what to do. I am doing the exercise and it feels good. It feels better. But I have this urge to talk to her. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's natural. But again, if you think from the perspective of a person who has his desire, would you be feeling sad that you're not talking to her right this very second? Or would you remember that you guys had a chat last night? She texted you this morning. She called you an hour ago. What is stopping you from remembering that and going back into the state of you who has his SP chasing? And he said, okay, I'll do that. And I said, it's about being. Okay, I know we are programmed, guys, from the very beginning of our lives to always do more and do and try this. It's all about external action. But this is not what we are doing here, guys. Not at all. You are going to have inspired actions in the 3D. But believe me, you're not going to overthink them and doubt these actions. Should I, shouldn't I? That's not going to happen if those are your inspired actions, coming from the state of the person who has their desire. Okay? So I told him the same thing. I said, listen, don't worry. Even if you have to call her, it's going to be inspired. okay? Even if you have to bump into her in the street, it's not going to be from this stalkerish perspective of you, checking the time exactly when somebody's coming home from work in order to see them. No, it's going to be very natural. You're not going to even think about your SP. You guys might pop into each other in the street, in a supermarket, in a drugstore, it doesn't matter. And he said, fine. He did this. He kept coming back from the state into the state for the past 2 months, over and over again. It was not always easy, guys, and I understand that. It's not always easy. Depending on the states you have been occupying previously in relation to your subject. Sometimes this change, this shift, might be a very big step for you. And it's natural. It's not going to feel, oh my God, I did it. It's fine. I just decide once and that's it. By the way, I'm going to make a video probably in 2 weeks because I have one more success story next week about deciding and if it's enough to decide just once, okay? It's a very important subject. So, back to my client, guys. Sorry about me digressing. Back to my client. He kept going back into the state, just like I taught him, just like we practiced in our sessions, over and over again for the past 2 months. And he finally came back with a success story. So, about 2 weeks ago, it was 3 weeks ago actually, we had a session, and I already saw that he was a completely different guy. No more of this insecure, obsessive energy around him. And I knew something was happening, and I asked him what it was, and he said, my SP texted me. She keeps texting me all the time, and in fact, she apologized just like he wanted. She asked him out on a date, and she is in constant communication with my client. So, I told him, do you see that as soon as you shifted yourself, instead of trying to change her and trying to do something for her in the 3D, that this is when things started to change for you? And he said, yes, you're right. So guys, moral of the story, it's not about doing. You can do any technique under the sun. If you're not shifting your awareness and becoming a person who already has what they want, you're going to struggle. The results might be slow, hot and cold. This is actually very common when you are looking out to your person, trying to change them. Yes, affirming sometimes shifts how they act towards you. But if you're not changing yourselves, you're quickly reverting back to your dominant perceptions, your dominant state that has a set of perceptions that are not working out for you, guys. And that is going to pull you back into the old story over and over and over again. And this is why what I do with my clients in our sessions is I'm trying to change them so that their perceptions change and then their world can change too, if that makes sense. Okay? So I hope you guys found this story motivating and inspirational, educational as well. If you have any questions, you may post them below. And by the way, when you see the account Tamara Create Your Future, that is me. That is not our lovely receptionist. They have a different account, just Create Your Future. But the one that I'm using to reply to your comments, guys, down below is Tamara Create Your Future. So it's not, regulated by somebody else. It's mine. I use it to connect with you guys and answer your questions. if you want to work with me one-on-one, I am currently having a 20% off sale until the end of December, guys. So it is my Christmas and New Year's gift to all of you. So link is down below, and see you guys next week.